JLP call them and no pedigree. Only JLP set the people.
Welcome back to the Steady Soul, folks. Steady Soul is live again. Big show tonight. Let's go. Let's go. Let me know who's there. Hit the like button as you reach. Yes, I. Let's talk about it. Let's go, family. The Steady Soul is alive. Let's go. Let's go. Evening too. That is it. That is it. Let's go. Pardon all you for in a tax fraud. In our parliament, but do help we law. Here be no good people. We know them and no good people. If I never the help enough, we wouldn't want a vehicle. Them about time come out them way back a time. Them tell PLI I try thief and just shine. All of them a devil and them forget mine. Get the 4 term it a go blow them mind. Blow them mind it a go blow them mind. Welcome back to the Steady Show, folks. Big show tonight. On a welcome, on a forward, on a rock and come in. Like the live, share the live. We are about to delve into some more stories about this place called Cuba, where a lot of things is going on with the Cuban government. For years, the PNP, they've been telling us that we need to look out for Cuba. Everything that happens in Cuba, they blame the JLP government. But lo and behold, as usual, anytime PNP talk, there is always something more to the story. And so when we heard about the program that, that ended after 50 years the other day, a lot of people started wondering. PNP, as usual, came out with a whole bag of questions for the JLP about the program that has just ended, looking for a way to blame the JLP government. But lo and behold, as usual, there is always more to the story. And so yesterday, we gave you testimonies, or we talk about issues that are taking place with the Cuban people, straight from the mouth of a Cuban national. So if you're new to the show, and if you have not seen those videos as yet, go ahead and do it. I've done shorts on it. It's a lot of things that's going on. It's a big story on nationwide. I see Cliff Hughes outraged and said nothing can go so. George Davis is speaking out. The people on social media, they are speaking out. Because if there's one thing we know about the Jamaican people, we don't like when people mess with our money. We don't like when people mess with our pay. We don't like it at all, right? So I'm just talking until people come in, because guess what? After when the people, and I see people coming in right now, you understand me? I'm just talking right now because when the people come, right, they will need to have information off the bat. So right now I'm seeing Desiree Grandison in the building. Welcome. I'm seeing 23 live right now. Just checking as you come. Hit the like button as you come. So I have an audio from a gentleman that has lived among Cubans, or for many years, and there's a lot of information to digest in terms of things that he has been told and things he has witnessed. As a matter of fact, this man used to drive them people around, and it's been years that he spent around them. So in addition to the information we shared yesterday, this is somebody who heard that show and decided to call. And by the way, the person is no stranger to us. So big up to Father Rose, same way. Thank you so much. He reached out to me and he decided to share the information. And I said, listen to me, go ahead, and I'm just going to let you talk. So he will be talking for about 18 minutes, sharing all manner of stories straight from the mouths of Cubans. He's lived among at least 8 of them that he's moved among for many years. So I'm just talking like this as I watch the thing. I watch the chat load up right now. I'm seeing 30 available right now. I know it's earlier than before, but I never wanted to schedule the show too far ahead of time. We wanted to be prepared. So let me greet some folks,
I'm seeing we have 26 showing. I'm seeing 10 likes, which means that the people are hitting the like button already. So thank you very much. I'm seeing 11 likes. Everybody just go ahead, double tap your screen right now. If another person I watch the steady show, or don't know, say, when it comes to credibility, you can lay that, you understand me? You can put that down as steady's responsibility. You know, say, me not do careless work already. So I'm not supposed to beg you for the like. You understand me? Let me greet some people and then I get right into the audio. So the people who are late, then they will miss some. And I ain't playing it back for nobody. Right? They will have to catch it on the show. So share the video. Let them know that we're there. MDL in the building. Big up yourself. You understand me? Doreen Johnson, big up yourself. Christine, big up yourself. Eleanor, big up yourself. Carolyn, big up yourself. I'm going to greet me for no, because after this, Steady will not be talking. So I'm seeing what? Aki Morrison in the building. Big up yourself same way. Anybody else who is there and you're a regular viewer or you love the Steady show, no matter if a long time you watch or you just start watch, heal up the Steady. Because up here, so, we have respect for the people and we talk about the business. So, listen, without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and play the intro again. And then after that, you will be hearing the audio from the gentleman who has lived among the Cubans. And you're going to hear those shocking stories. Let's go. Let's hit the like button and go, family. Let's go.
If you want politics, just turn on Steady show.
Any trends in the building? Big up.
PNP call them and no pedigree. Only JLP set the people them free. 22 years they no stop keep tax. From Michael Manley straight to Finsack. Mark Gold in the money worse than the lap.
Show our labor rights. Let's go.
Don't mention the one the road the right off. God, I go beat it with the rod and the staff. Face ugly like him, I walk witchcraft. I wash the keys just like the Alfred does. Play Steady show in the morning and in the evening too. Dennis Garden, all you fit in a
Testimony is coming, folks. Thank you, Desiree. We gotta do some vibes. We gotta bring the vibes. I see the likes going up. Keep the likes going, folks. Share the live. Kata B in the building. Big up yourself. I like it. I like it. I like it. All right, folks. So without any further ado, you're not gonna hear from me for a while because this is a testimony for the ages. You understand me? Big up again to our guest, regular guests who usually come on the show, talk to us. Let's hear what's been going on. Doreen Johnson, big up yourself. Good evening to everybody. I said the moderators, hailing the people. Let's go, family. Let's hear what's happening right now.
When I show you this study, some years ago, we used to operate a little business. We used to have a little taxi business going. And I remember I met a Cuban who was a teacher. And she didn't really know much English, though she was a Spanish teacher in my area. And I was afforded the opportunity to meet her so-called family. Now, where they were staying is about 8 of them were staying at the particular house or the apartment. More than one apartment, but 8 of them. And they share with me some stuff about Cuba. Right? This was live and direct. The Cuban teacher said to me that one of the male teachers from Cuba said to me that to buy a Nike sneakers in Cuba, the cost is $7 for a Nike here. See? Some Nike here are $11, some are $12. Depends on the type. You know, you have the Air Max and all in different things. So you have a $7 salary and a shoes are for $7. The salary is for $7. So when the teacher said to me it is $7, and he's an English teacher, when he said to me it's $7, I said, what do you mean $7? You mean $700 or $7,000? What are you trying to say? The man said, uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis. Right? Siete, the man count and say $7. He showed me 7 fingers. He said, this is a salary in Cuba for a teacher. And with that money, if we were to buy a shoes for sometime $20, We have to save for months, almost all year, before we can buy our shoes. They said that life in Cuba is very difficult. He went as far as telling me, and listen, when he was telling me this, about 8 hours sit down on a table, you know, in the hall section, some around the table and some in the couch. Them said to me, so listen, in Cuba, we own what they call, again, baka. I think that is the name for cow in Cuba. And the man said to me that the cow that they own, they cannot kill the cow because the meat belongs to the government, but the milk belongs to who own the cow. So they can only drink the milk, but they cannot butcher the cow and eat the meat. Right? Also the goat, they can't eat the goat. A fish in Cuba, what them call again? Pesca. I don't remember all of the words, you know. Me learn some Spanish words from them. I think a pesca them call fish. Them say one pesca is for a family of 5. Right? 1 pound of fish is for a family of 5. So I got the opportunity to carry one of them to Montego Bay one day. And while we were in Montego Bay coming back to Clarendon, the lady said to me, you know, tengo hambre, señoros. Tengo hambre means I am hungry. So I said, okay, we're going to get some food. So we learned some Spanish as business, so me answer in Spanish. And we stopped at a seafood place to get some food. So I bought for her, because she not even know the dollar what we have at Jamaica. Me have our money to spend. She don't really understand our Jamaican dollar. So I ordered for her a fish. Now the plate that the fish was served on, the plate was about 10 inches across in diameter. And the fish that she got on the plate, it was about 2 inches hanging off on each side. And the woman took out her phone and the tears started to run down her face. And I said, what happened? Why are you crying? Because to me, now, I think she started eating the food and the pepper probably burn her. And she had tears from the pepper food, you know? And she said, no, it's not that. It's just that I'm sad. She's not, I said, why? She said, mal familia. She said, it's bad with her family in Cuba. Right? So I said, what do you mean? She said, in Cuba, we can't eat food like this. She said, this is paradise. And right now, I wish I was in Cuba with this food to share with my mother and my father and my family. Right? One dege fish. The fish was about a 2-pound fish, but it was bigger than the plate that it was in. It was longer. You understand? And that same lady, one time, she had gone to KFC with another Cuban friend. And when she went to KFC, the Cuban friend said to her, what do you want to eat? And she said, I need 3 pieces of chicken and some juice. Now, when they gave her the cup, because you know what KFC, you know, them give the cup. One time I that them do, I don't know if they still do it. But they gave her the cup. And she went to the dispenser and she poured the drink. She never know how to get the juice out of the machine. A big one I tell about, you know, that have a big woman in her 40s. She never know how to get the juice out of the machine. So them show her and tell her to drink it. She drank it sparingly. It was grape she was drinking. And she said, oh my God. She said, oh Dios mío. Oh Dios mío. I always see this on the television, but it's the first I am tasting the grape soda. And brother, the woman drank the grape soda until she almost urinated herself, because she did not know that she could go back to the fountain and refill and refill and refill. And the woman drank about 3 cups. Not about, she drank 3 cups of the grape soda, because she can't believe she had just glimpsed it on TV while they're in Cuba. So when the government would have said certain things, a lot of people in Jamaica won't understand, and people get up and cuss and talk a lot of things that they don't understand. Now when it comes down to the salary, the Cuban people tell me straight, and they said to me, say, bro, when we are in Jamaica, we come on a mission. So I know it's foolishness now because mission is like you go to spy. But the government over in Cuba tell the workers who are coming here that they're coming to Jamaica on a mission. So this mission now allows them to come to Jamaica and work, but half of their salary has to go back to Cuba to support the Cuban people in the country. So when them come out now and talk about when they go back home, they get money from the government. They don't get no money. The money that goes back to Cuba stay with the Cuban government to run the country. Things are so bad in Cuba that if you are a Cuban and you're in Jamaica, anyhow you have a death in Cuba, like your mother pass off, or your sister, your brother, your spouse, your sibling, you cannot go back to Cuba fast enough before the funeral. Because the person that dies today in the hospital is taken from the hospital straight to the burying ground. No fancy cemetery, no ambulance, nothing like that at all. Right? Those are things that they call paradise. But I'm going to call the name of one of my very good friends from Cuba. And his name is Rodo. Right? Rodo was staying with me for a time. Rodolfo. And Rodolfo, one day we went to Kingston one time for about 6 days consecutively. Right? And Rodo at day number 4 said to me, Senor Rose, no tengo. Right? No dinero. It was there, no dinero. The money finished, but he have to go to Kingston. So I said, all right, I'll bring us, and I don't care about Kingston. When we were coming back, he said to me that he was hungry and he wanted something to eat. So I said, what do you want to eat? And he said, Senor Rose, I don't have money, I can't buy comida. No comida, which means food. I said, no problem, man, I'll get you some. So we drove down to Maypen and we say, you want some pizza? And him say, sure, but he can't afford it. So I said, no problem, and I'll take care of it, because this man, as I said, this man was paying for the entire week, traveling to Kingston and being a charter. So I went to Domino's and I buy him a pizza. The pizza that I bought is about 10 or 12 inch, one of the small pizza. Was for less than $2,000 for the pizza. And when the man see the pizza, the man take up his phone and put his face close down to the table and take a selfie with the pizza and say, I have to put this now on Instagram. So I say, why? He said, so my friends in Cuba can see that I am living the paradise. He said, oh my God, Mr. He said, 10 year olds, no, this is too much. It's too much, 10 year old. No, too much, son. Too much, 10 year olds, too much. What was too much? It was too much to spend $2,000 for lunch. He was saying it was a lot of money. No, 10 year olds, a lot of money. You know, so he ate his pizza, he enjoyed himself, got him some fruit juice, and he was saying it's not like this in his country. So I was driving an old car at the time. It was a 2004 Toyota I was driving. And it was a taxi car. The man said to me that, he said that a car that you have in my country, that car value $250,000 US. So I said, what? Him say, yes, man. That car that you have outside park, as that you use for the business, that car values $200,000 in my country in Cuba. If you come to Cuba, he said to me, if you come to Cuba, all this girl will be yours in Cuba. All the women will be yours. Because you are driving a brand new car. My car was basically 20 years old, as I said at the time, almost 20. You know, so I'm talking about a few years before now, and I'm talking about before the COVID came in. You know? So the thing about it is that these people are very much appreciative of the life that they have experienced in Jamaica. And a lot of persons don't understand. People want to jump on the bandwagon and say, Andrew Wellness is bowing to the pressures of the United States and blah, blah, blah. But they don't understand that the Cuban people who come here, they have been robbed for 50 years by the Cuban regime. Right? That is how Cuba life is. Friends, if you don't believe me, go and look on YouTube. Just type in life in Cuba. Because I went and I watched some videos because they were telling me that videos are there. For example, no example. When when there's a gathering for goods at the supermarket, you have a lot of people who come and, like when you have a ram jam and sting, or the place cark, that is all the entrance to the supermarket cark. And when they get to go at the supermarket, what is inside the supermarket is ketchup, flour, rice. That's it. Nothing else is in the supermarket, right? And the food in the supermarket is not there like when we there in Jamaica. We can go to the supermarket any Mr. Day for the week, and we get any amount of food that we want to buy. Their food is so limited that it runs out. Right? For them food run out, and the country have to wait until them give them like a food. So about 4 years ago, they were protesting about food, that they want food. So the person who is responsible for the country is one of the general in the army. I don't remember what the man name, but this man gave them a list. Brother, you get a list to go to a supermarket at Cuba. It's not like Jamaica where you decide you want a 5 pound chicken, and you want 3 pound of fish, and you want a piece of steak, and you want whatever. Not so in Cuba. You get a list. You register your family, a family of 4, family of 5. They tell you exactly what you can get. So they were saying that the 1 pound of fish is not enough, and whatever. You know what they did? They gave them a list. I'm sorry, I'm not list to read it to you. But what they put on the list as an upgrade, because the people said they wanted more, was what they call crocodilio. You know what's a crocodilio? Yes, man, crocodile. The man said, go on, young crocodile. So anybody who have any farm of food growing in their country, they cannot eat it, they cannot butcher it, they cannot do anything like that with it. Right? So I would just want people to understand that Cubans are mistreated badly in the country. Final point I'm going to show you. Marijuana. We call it ganja. In Cuba, you cannot say marijuana. If you say marijuana, somebody will report, because all the country set up enough. It's like everybody is an informer for the state. Everybody watch you, everybody have something negative to say. And anyhow you mention marijuana, somebody will tell the police, and the police will come and arrest you and put you in jail for 15 years. Hey, don't say I'm ridiculous, and that's foolishness. I'm telling you about life in Cuba. And all of what I'm telling you tonight, Jamaica. All of what I'm telling you is from Cubans that I spent years with. Years traveling Jamaica with them. My car was a 7-seater. Sometimes I have 8 Cubans in my vehicle. Right? Heading off to Montego Bay, heading to Kingston. Me and them roll deep. Me learn a lot of Spanish from these Cuban people. Right? So you see how cocaine, you get life sentence for cocaine. I mean just an ounce. You like Jamaica now, if you have an ounce of cocaine, the police will probably lock up you for a 6 months or 1 year. But in Cuba, it's a life sentence. Right? Those things are not tolerated. The regime is a strict one. And if you get some help from your family, like your family in America or Jamaica or any other country, send you a car or they send you a bicycle, the government take it, because it becomes the property of the government once it hits Cuban soil. Once it come over the wharf, say John Brown get a car, or Mr. Rodriguez or Artego get a car from somebody. The government sees it and tell us say you don't deserve it, a for them one. Right? So people just would want you to understand where Jamaica and the US and the other countries in the world are when they look and say, no, this regime can't continue. The people are hurting and the people need liberalization. So I am not going to join the bandwagon and say that the government is doing bad. It's like some things are not clearly expressed to us. So we have to just listen and look and learn. Right? I still have my Cuban friends and we touch base with them every so often. I have taught a lot of them to drive, right? Because them come here can't drive. It means that all of them in Jamaica can drive. If I even fall, we can drive. Them come to Jamaica and they are doctors, they are teachers, right? And they cannot drive. We teach a lot of them, then get their license. And I was so happy that Saturday gone, one of them texted me, right? She was the last one that I had to encounter with. She texted me last week and she said, Senor Rose, I buy my car. It's a 2021 Honda Fit. And she was so happy because she finally know buy her own car. So when you see them come to Jamaica and them try to make them move and, you know, brother, me can't express how much. Sometimes I carry them go off. You know what the people in buy at Jamaica? The people in buy stove, fridge, flat screen TV, microwave. Them pack containers send their friend. Which part them buy Jamaica? No, who in Jamaica would buy things from Jamaica? I mean, if send down to the country. We would never do that as Jamaicans. We would never do that. But they buy the stuff here and they take back. Kingston, when them the Kingston and them a shop. Oh my God. The Chinese give them special preference because they're kind of pure to Jamaica. They're not like Ginals here. But when they go to Kingston to buy stuff, they buy it and send it back to foreign. But we now buy stuff at Jamaica because you know so enough of what we get at Jamaica and knock off stuff. But the Cubans go to Kingston and they buy the Chinese slippers, they buy the furs here, they buy the fake stuff and they send it to foreign. They pack barrels and send it over. Because this is the best type of life that they will ever experience. Right? So when Andrew step in and Donald Trump and Roosevelt was step in and say, oh, this have to stop. Jamaican people, just understand. Things are not what it seems like because you have an understanding. Right? So, big up to Steady again. Continue to do the good work, brother. Oh, and big up to all the Cubans.
Big up Father Rose for that. For those of you who are just joining, you understand me, welcome. And welcome to everybody who sat through these last 18 minutes listening to Life in Cuba. Thank you so much. That was a lot of things that Mr. Rose just shared. You heard what he said? He's been around them for years. He's been around up to 8 of them in a 7-seater bus, right? Big up Mr. C, Mr. Big up Christine Reed. Big up to everybody that is here. So while we were listening, I saw some comments. I probably can look at some of those comments. You understand me? So Kata B was the first one that says, so them things, yeah. Manly did want carry, con give we. You understand me? No, sir. We couldn't deal with none of that. And yes, that's exactly what Manly's experiment was around. And as we always say on this show, that bloody election in 1980, that was the election that was going to decide if Jamaica was going to become a communist country like Cuba, right? So that was Mr. Rose that just spoke. So for the folks who are late, I did not interrupt him. So if you didn't catch some of the details, when the show ends, please go ahead and listen to the details that Mr. Rose just shared. We also had a conversation that we had with a Cuban national yesterday, and we had to take time out to, to collect the information, right? I literally never asked for permission to tape the conversation, and the reason is because, because of how the Cuban government stays and the consequences for divulging information on the Cuban government, I decided to take notes. And then after we took notes, we decided to, put that on recording. So there's another video that I've been trying to get at least 1,000 views on. So if you have not seen that one as yet, please go ahead and do it. So that information, along with what you just heard a while ago, we know that this topic, the hot topic right now, I hear Cliff Hughes talking out on it. You understand me that? And we heard nationwide, what's his name? George was speaking out on it as well. Because what's really happening in Cuba is really shocking. It's really surprising to know. I mean, I would have known about communism before. This probably was when I was in my 20s. I read a book, and I think it was based on communism in Bulgaria. So that was a long time ago. I'm not sure that it's still a communist country. But when I heard those stories, it makes you wonder. But then you say Bulgaria, they're far away. But then Cuba, which is so close to us and so close to the United States, right? You must understand, folks, that when you have Cuba messing with Russia over there, so, and Cuba is so close to the USA, right in the Caribbean, close to Jamaica, you understand me? Again, this was the lack of common sense that Michael Manley displayed. You understand me? And the people praised Manley and thought Manley had sense. He didn't really have much. And for those who used to listen to Mutty Perkins back in the day, Mutty Perkins spoke about it. Mutty spoke about the fact that he had a good voice. He was a good looking dude. And so people liked him for his charisma and the charm. But outside of that, Manley was not a brilliant politician. And so this geopolitical war that we're seeing, it's like the whole Manley situation that Manley exposed Jamaica to in the 70s. This is Cuba in 2026 still going through that stuff. So for those who never watched the stuff yesterday, right, some of the things that the Cuban national spoke about was the kind of freedom of speech that we have in a Jamaica. Them not have that in a Cuba. Them can't watch anything they want to watch on television. They have to watch what the government tells them to watch. Just like what Father Rose say, at the same situation, the people, they own nothing. You heard the part where him say, the people, even if you own the cow, you can only get the milk because the government owns the cow. The government owns everything. One of the things that we got from, and it was right in line with what we got yesterday from speaking with that Cuban national, you understand me, that spoke about the fact that even if you work in a Cuba or you make money, the money is of no value because there is nothing to buy. You heard him say that if somebody gets a car or anybody send anything to you, the Cuban government takes control of that. Now, which Jamaican would I want any of that foolishness? You get your car, your money is sent to you, the government ceases that. Even in situations where Cubans overseas sending, aid to the people, to their families back home and so on, the government takes it for their own and they sell them in the stores to the Cuban people. You hear him say because of the inflation in a Cuba, how much money for him 2004 car would have cost? People, this communist thing is a big thing. Yesterday, the lady spoke about, there was a time when there could be no mention of God, no free practice of religion. Some of the things that came out of that conversation was even some teenagers in a July went and protest and talk about they want their freedom, and the Cuban government locked them up. So when you see Cuba now on the verge of a collapse, then just understand that it's been a long time since the revolution in the 50s when Castro them take over the whole thing. You understand me? I said to you, Cuba has not been the same. And the one government system, that's what's going on there. So the suffering comes from the fact that they're not producing anything. They used to get the oil and the supplies from Russia because Russia liked their proximity or their closeness to the United States. But the Soviet Union fell in 1991. And after that, now they started getting oil from Venezuela. But one very important thing is that the slavery that the U.S. is talking about, when some people think it's Jamaica, it's not Jamaica, but in the Venezuelan situation, the Cuban national told us that we supplied Venezuela with doctors, Cubans, because they train them and they send them. So we supply Venezuela with the doctors, and Venezuela supplied them with the oil. But now with the capture of Maduro, and I spoke about this in theory before on this show, with the capture of Maduro, they can't get the oil anymore. So for those who are following the news, you know that Cuba has been experiencing a lot of blackouts. Now, for the information that we're giving right now, 35 minutes in, I'm seeing 119 folks watching. If you're new to the show or if you usually watch the show, I believe that we're giving you good information. All you got to do on your phone screen to give me that thumbs up so that that video can go out to more people is to double tap your mobile screen just like this. Just double tap your mobile screen. Let's get me to about at least 70 or 80 likes right now. I see some people moving. Just do it 2 times. Tap, tap on your screen. Let me not spend too much time asking you to do that. So with the capture of Maduro, I'm seeing we're all the way up to 44. So some folks are doing it. Thank you so much. I want the rest of you to go ahead and do it. Let's get me the thumbs up, folks. Get me the thumbs up. You're not doing anything else to get this kind of information. So with the capture of Maduro, this is where the big problem is for Cuba, because that's where they're not getting oil from Russia no more. You know. They used to get it from Venezuela, but the capture of Maduro and the seizing of the oil and all of that, now them in a problem, right? Because the U.S. embargo depend them, and the U.S. embargo depend the other places in the region, such as Jamaica, that depend on it. So when I hear the dumbheads talking about we are bowing to America, no, we're not bowing to America, right? We are doing the wise and the prudent thing. And in all honesty, what the Cuban government is doing, and in the words of the national we spoke with yesterday, the person said that communism is the worst form of slavery, right? So it's literally slavery, really a go on, legalized slavery, because the people have no redress. If you're going to challenge the government, you have to have somebody, an attorney appointed by the Cuban government to help you sort out your business. And just the mere fact that we spoke about the teenagers who were put in jail because they protested for their freedom, then you understand how serious it is. And no, the people have no resources, so they can't rise up against the government, right? Because a lot of these people, them born under communism. It's all they know. It's all they see on television. There is no freedom of speech, no freedom of movement. They can't travel, go anywhere they want to go, right? So, and understand that the very people who come on the programs, even though the government takes more than 50% of their money, what did the nationals say, right? We still, you understand me, decide to take the offer because it is still better than what we have in Cuba, because in Cuba, we have nothing. We own nothing. The government owns everything, right? So we went up to 54 likes. I'm seeing 127 right now. Double tap your screen, right? Double tap your screen. If you've been watching the show, right? What I would recommend, and if this is a topic you're interested in, I suggest you go ahead and look at that video, an 11-minute video that we did on Cuba. Watch that, because that video is just straight informational. And that information came from somebody that was on the same program that ended the other day, right? So the issue with the Jamaican government is that they cannot continue, and they should not, because at the end of the day, as you say, at least in Jamaica, they get some kind of money, but in the Venezuela scenario, you understand me? It's doctors in exchange for oil. So now them can't get the oil. Now it's a blackout. So if you saw the news on Nationwide today, President Trump was saying that Cuba is at the end of the line, right? So over the years, we've heard that Cuba has very strong military power and so on. We're learning through the nationals that nothing no go so them not powerful like that. You understand me? Because they don't produce, and because of the embargoes that are on them and so on. Right? And everybody have to look out for themselves, So don't come tell us that as Jamaica, we should consider, you understand me, going back to the days in Michael Manley where we experienced blackout, no food on the shelf, and anything like that. So just understand that, first of all, for those of you out there who wanna criticize Dr. Andrew Holness and the JLP government for what they're doing, and even with the hypocritical PNP making up noise, and for those of you who want to say, but so the government was facilitating this kind of thing all along, well, who been running the country for the longest while? And who is it that's been aligning themselves with Cuba even since the 70s? It was the People's National Party, right? So, of course, as you would understand, the government of Jamaica tried to reach out and say, hey, let's regularize the stuff that, that's going on right here that are in keeping with local and international law. But of course, they don't want to do it because the intention was never to just send doctors to come here. As they say, the doctors are essentially contract workers that the government sent. Yes, they train them good and all of that, but when they send them out to work, they're really working on behalf of the government. And if you notice what was said, if you listen to today, right? If they try to establish themselves outside of what was agreed upon with the government, which essentially was against their will, then when they go back to Cuba, they can't come back at them yard, right? And if them go against them, they can't return to Cuba. So enough Cubans decide to them now go back because they don't want to experience that kind of suffering in any way, shape, or form. But the hopeful thing right now is this. As the National said, when we ask, so is it that military intervention would be needed now to address the issue in Cuba? They say, no, we may not need a military situation because Cuba will crumble on its own because right now they must suffer. And the thought behind a lot of things is this. Listen, a lot of Cubans want the takeover. They really do want it to happen, right? So for people who don't have information and who don't know what go on, they think, oh, you're going to take people out of them country. But listen to me, if you have people who are putting people through modern day slavery and all of that, and they pose such a threat, you understand me? Something needs to be done. So one of the questions I ask is that, hey, so, do you think that Russia would intervene should there be some kind of military thing? They say, no, they don't believe that Russia would necessarily do it. So they say, basically, Cuba has been standing on its own. And you can see, because if you watch what's going on, the place is not being maintained. No food on the shelf. They talk about no medical supplies in the hospital. They don't have no freedom to do anything that they want to do. So it's harsh economic punishment. So who are the people in Cuba that benefit? The government, the officials. You understand me? The people who are in place. You understand me? Executive directors. All the people who are in place to keep this thing going. So one of the things we ask, so when we hear about, the U.S. and what's happening, is it that a lot of Cubans believe that it's the U.S. fault why they're in this problem? They said, no, it's a part of the propaganda that they keep going so that they can continue to hold down and oppress the people under the communist regime that's going on in Cuba. So I hope that's been a lot of information. Let's go ahead because we're at the place now where we can take some comments. So listen to me. We will be talking about this Cuban thing for a while, because the PNP, they have been politicizing Cuba for a long time, using Cuba as political mileage, telling people to stand with Cuba. So essentially, this show should have been called the PNP. They're exposing the Cuban professionals to risk. Because when they come and they're asking the JLP all these problems, they know very well that these people, they are bound under contract by their government to follow what the government says. So that's the reason why the government decided that they're not going to cooperate with the JLP. And remember, Jamaica is not the only one. So let's have the hard conversation. Yes, they supply us with doctors, and the doctors have done well, and we've experienced it. But if it's a matter that the government is doing this modern day slavery thing with the Cuban people, then it cannot be a good thing. So I'm seeing 136 right now. We must can get to 100 likes. Give me 37 more likes, folks. All you got to do is double tap your screen. Or what you can do, you look at your screen, you can look at the three dots in the top right hand corner of your phone. Hit those three dots if you're using a mobile phone. You understand me? Tap those three dots and it will show you the option to select the thumbs up button. Information like this needs to go out to the people. I'm going to ask the JLP people them, please be more alert and vigilant in helping to spread this kind of information, because I can tell you, the comrades, they know this information like the back of their hands, and they've been using this kind of stuff as leverage. Well, guess what? We now have information coming from the people living in Cuba who are telling us what's really going on behind the scenes. And as far as we are concerned, we now support that foolishness. But we got to find a way to let the message get out there. We need 25 more likes. It should not be so difficult to hit the like button. We just broke down a lot of things for you all, right? And if you haven't subscribed as yet, please go ahead and do so. I want to say welcome to the new subscribers. I want to say big up to the people, and I can break and then I'll go back to it. I want to say big up to the people who watched the last two shows. And I was talking about the zodiac. Some people like it, and they say, oh, man, steady. What about the Pisces? The Pisces women are very nice. Let me give you a piece of that, and then I'll go back, right? Pisces women are very nice. Pisces man, them, I don't know. I've seen some rather shaky Pisces men. I'm just saying, right? But short my one there, Taurus, stubborn. By the way, the president of Cuba is a Taurus. So I was saying to my wife this evening, everybody knows a Taurus stubborn. So the only way they're going to really get this person out is that, you understand me? They're going to have to find a way to get him out there strategically. I think he's going to have to be removed by force. That's as much as I will say. Who else may never talk about? If y'all want to know, and I never called on a name the other day, then you can let me know. But this is where we freestyle. So we've given a lot of information. You know, if you go back to the first part of the video, there's 18 minutes where, you know, a gentleman in Jamaica who lived among Cubans, at least 8 of them, he was sharing his experiences, you understand me, being with those individuals, the stories they told, and stuff in Jamaica where the Cuban people, they're surprised. People never know that they could have got to the machine and, you understand me, get a refill, such as what you do at KFC. They never know they could have eaten a big fish by themselves, a pizza by themselves. They never know any of that. They found that out. So for those of you who want to know that kind of information, you can go back to the beginning of the show. Usually when we reach to this part of the show, we freestyle and we talk back to the people. So we've already justified the thumbnail, but still stick around because them part of the show, they get really nice as well. So somebody says, so folks don't, so no, they don't own. I addressed that already. Somebody say their food and cooking gas is rationed. Somebody said big up to Steady. Sorry to be late. Thank you so much, Mr. C. Mr. So if you are somebody who, you know, you've seen and, you know, you've been among these people, because remember, you know, we have our nurses, them too, and people who are in the medical profession who work with these people and who learn of these people's stories. We have that out there as well. You understand me? I probably should play that thing with Cliff Hughes on Nationwide. I think I did some kind of a version. You can hear what they had to say about it. I probably should play that. Let's see. I believe this is it. Let me play this one. For those of you who may not have seen this one as yet, let me just play this. Make sure you watch the video on Cuba. Lots of information.
The following are notes from a conversation had with a Cuban national about life under communism in Cuba. When you go to Jamaica, Ecuador, and Mexico, the government stays in contact with the hosting governments and takes more than 50% of their pay.
Servitude, that cannot be right. That cannot be right.
Essentially, they are working on overseas soil for the Cuban government.
No, we not like it.
Has the Cuban government over time, according to this document and according to the US officials, been pressing their own people into a process and system of servitude where they have them working here, taking the bulk of their pay, taking a half of anything extra that they do, and then bringing them back to Cuba after 2 or 3 years and repeating it with a new batch? Is that what has happened over 50 years? And is that why this medical mission is no more? Because the US has told its partners, including Jamaica, that that practice can work no more. Just questions this morning based on what we've read over the weekend.
They are observed, they are watched all the time. They have to be careful who they talk to and what information they disclose about the Cuban government. They cannot say anything about the agreements they made to work in those countries, the agreements that they made with the Cuban government. Cuban agents visit their places of work and where they live to check if they are trying to establish a new life outside of Cuba. If that is the case, they would make it impossible to return to Cuba or to leave Cuba after returning home. They also check to ensure that they are not linking up with other Cubans who've been living in the other countries who left Cuba for some time. The blackout in Cuba is due to the lack of oil from Venezuela. Family back home has no electricity, no transportation, no medicine, no food. But it's not because of the USA. It's because of the communism that's been happening there for more than 60 years.
This communism thing in Cuba is a very serious thing. And if you don't know, so you can watch that video, folks. So that's some more information right there. Let's hear what the people have to say. Somebody say, which Jamaican would I want to live in a Cuba? Show me the Jamaican. When you hear about the paycheck part, show me the Jamaican who would I want for them paycheck. Which Jamaican? Listen, me know what it is to work with Jamaica already. And listen to me, if you short them pay by even $20 or $30 head and pull house, them say they're not doing any work, much less for the government of your country. So you see, when people in a free country, you see all the whole thing where people of tell Andrew wholeness about him mother, that can't go on in a Cuba, So some of them PNP, we need to send them home to Cuba. You understand? We make the freedom government deal with them, because as far as me concerned, PNP and Cuba are the same country, because PNP is a country all by itself. These people could not be Jamaicans and be so anti-Jamaican. Let me go back to the comments and hear what the people are saying. Somebody say, I hope Jamaicans realize that they live in a country where freedom is very important or paramount, right? Cubans cannot criticize their government the way Jamaican diaspora, and I criticize the government in Jamaica. They disrespect the government. So the truth is that some of the people in Jamaica, the indisciplined, foul mouth one them, who like to run up their mouth and do don't. None of them would do better in a Cuba, because some of them are like a beast, so they need some discipline in their life. If we had a way to send them to Cuba, then we would have just sent them to Cuba. We see somebody put it on Facebook this evening. If we don't like Cuba, somebody would not make it a Cuba. Right? But we're not going to allow Uno to dictate what goes on in the country, especially when Uno have no sense of reasoning. Uno work with no facts. All Uno look for is some way to discredit and to disrespect the government, right? The other day, they used to cuss we not said nothing about Cuba. Dr. Andrew Holness said something there, made a statement the other day, silenced them. Some of them now, I hope say Dr. Andrew Holness getting in trouble. And I have to tell JLP people, now, need to understand that them people here, they are radicals, these PNP people, right? They have a thing up at the PNP office that says, wow, what name? work, organize, win. And I told you, the only thing PNP was created for is to win elections. They don't know nothing about no governance. None of them have no foundation to build on. And for those of you who are late, Mr. Manley was touting the idea of, you understand me, of Jamaica becoming a communist country. They try to deny it, but it is true. You understand me? I believe I have something here to so that with Manley. You understand me? How Manley used to run him out. I wonder if this is the one I want to play. I think I have a short one. We need to remind you know who Manley was and what Manley was trying to accomplish until he himself realized him need to fall in line and stop show off himself. Let's see if this is the one.
Until 2016, most of the Jamaican electorate just are no meds.
People in the world say now, why are we taking this risk to anger the United States of America? And the answer is this: we are not angering the United States of America. They are angering themselves. They are not going to tell me what relationship I have with Fidel Castro. We have that friendship with Cuba as part of a world alliance of third world nations that are fighting for justice for poor people in the world. And I tell you as the party leader, as long as this party is in power, we intend to walk through the world on our feet and not on our knees.
We paid for it, we paid for it dearly in terms of aid. But Michael was very clear that, it's certain things you just have to take a stand on.
Experience taught us that the government's just not very good at production.
That's Manley telling.
So, in the 70s, when Jamaica suffered like how Cuba is suffering today, that is the flighty, hot-headed, egotistical Michael Manley that the clowns are trying to tell us is the greatest prime minister. This evening I was saying to somebody, just imagine, we just barely moved from under England, right? And 1962, Manley became prime minister. Why? 1972, when Jamaica was doing well, but he came with the whole better must come. So good that they are ready, but better must come. And then the people then believe, because as you can see, Manley was a good talker, full of charisma, but he was an airhead. And we have to tell the Manleyites, and we have to remind them that no matter how no one fit twisty, Michael Manley was not a sensible leader. He was a great orator. Dr. Andrew Holness is a sensible and a prudent and an intelligent leader. If Michael Manley never understood that the USA being such a powerful country who is just right there beside we, and Cuba did so, that it would have made no sense that you go align yourself with Cuba, who are aligned themselves with the USSR. And see, they take down Maduro are the same thing. Close relations with Russia, you understand me, Iran, China, or whatever, with all their enemies, while they're living among us. So them come like the family member, them who just love stray. Right? But them don't understand the system and what they could expose the family to. It's like some careless family member who walk and pick trouble with everybody in the community. And as you can tell, as we always say in Jamaica, if you can't catch what kwaku, you're catching shot. Right? So it's almost like that kind of situation. So what Cuba is experiencing today, we've already been through that. But this is the time for JLP people to start telling their children and grandchildren. Because the PNP know this, but this is not what they're telling their children and grandchildren. They're telling them that the PNP is the best party. The PNP loves the poor. And yet, nobody has done more damage to the Jamaican economy like The People's National Party. I see we're up to 152, 88, 89 likes. Go ahead, let's get, no, we must can get to 110 likes. Double tap your screen, folks, and get me to the likes. We're talking good tonight. I need 11 more to get to 100. I need 9 more to get to 100. Good information. And when you watch this show, we're able to give you the information hard and fast because we've studied the history. The whole channel is laced with factual information. If you want information, for FinSac, this is the place. You understand me? If you want it for Rattigan and who was able to expose Rattigan, this is the place. Who first exposed the Integrity Commission, this is the place. And we do it without cuss bad word. We do it without disrespect people. We do it without arguing with comrades, because comrades cannot argue with facts. Man, I had an incident with one of them this evening after I put up a video that I played earlier on. Forward. Then if all of this is happening, how come the JLP government decide to have Cuban agents in the country? So may I say, the question I have is, why is it that comrades fail to realize that it's under the PNP government that we've seen the most damages done, and it is they who have the bigger responsibility when it comes to Cuba, because they and Cuba, they've been in bed since the 1970s. I say, whatever you want to know, you can go and find out by doing your own research. Me see him send me back some things, because I know I want comrade, because I know comrade talking point, you know. Before him respond to me, me jump on him page, and me see the whole heap of thing them about Dr. Andrew Hollis. Him respond to me now. You understand me? Oh, you're saying a lot of nothings, our long explanation, which me not even read. But just write back to him and say, listen to me, I do not have conversations with people who post what you post on your page. You understand me? Go find somebody else who will give you the time of day, and that was that. Right? And this is the kind of mindset I want JLP to have. 2 stories in one. I saw somebody put in the comment section yesterday. Steady the PNP, they've been telling a lot of lies. I want you to go through them. First of all, if you know, say, people get up and tell lie on you every day, and you're going to spend your time and energy responding to each and every lie. Have you ever heard this statement? They attribute it to Michael Jackson, right? They say lies run sprint, but truth run marathon. Get me to the 100, because I talk good, right? Lies run sprint, but truth run marathon. So the lie always get around faster. PNP know that, right? So they use the propaganda to out there. They know they're lying, right? So if me not have no reason for deal with them, I'm not going to deal with them. But I go for their parliamentarians and their leaders, because at the end of the day, we, a JLP, and the line PNP, them like a dirty draws doors, they are the ones who we are compete with for market share. You understand me? I want to say market share, we're talking about for votes. See who we're going to get, because we and them are compete for market share. I ain't competing with lying bloggers out here. They work for PNP. What I want labor rights to do is to become more politically savvy. You understand me? By doing research. I've given, if each and every labor right should watch FIMI channel alone, you couldn't miss, because the amount of research and data. I ain't telling you anything just because I have a good memory. No, we've been talking. We've done the homework. We know. To the point now where we are ahead of the news a lot of times and people don't even realize. We started this thing with Cuba, got the interview yesterday. Today we see Cuba, today we see Cliff Hughes, them react, and we're not disrespecting them. We're just saying that we're on the political pulse, because labor rights will have to start being like that. Because with the kind of politician them what they have in the parliament, no, we will need to know stuff. It's not just chase political excitement. You understand me? I'm getting ready to close the show. Let me take some more comments. I must have missed a lot. Somebody said, true that. Good night, Melbourne. Good night, Primrose. Good night. Good night, everyone. Thanks for joining steady. Yes, thank you so much. Always appreciate y'all. Somebody say, So I am only going to respond to things that I really think contribute to the conversation we're having as we get ready to close. We're right at that point now, right? Again, one of the things that comrades like to do is they like to forward in the comment section and they pick an argument or they come with a leading question. Sometimes before I argue with them, I need to look on them page and once I realize, say, they are the kind, especially the extreme kind, who post a lot of negative things about the Prime Minister and this administration. Don't respond to them. You understand me? Don't waste your energy doing that. You see me, I say, because one thing, PNP no change, a JLP alone change, but that's a story for another day. Somebody say, I remember how Cubans used to walk through API building during the Michael Manley regime. Thank you very much. And that is what we call the now JIS during Manley time. So during those times, the PNP, they had a real hole. So two story in one again, So communism is political extremism. Right? Let me say it again. Communism is political extremism. So you have to understand that PNP and why they are such political fanatics and gorillas, if you ask me, is that they come from the gorilla. They come from gorilla politics. Them on Cuba, Castro no gorilla, that's the whole revolution, right? Take over the place. Extreme politics. That's where they come from. So for them, culture is built on extreme aggressive politics. That's not even built on policies that serve the interests of the common people. But like Cuba, what the PNP has done over the years is that them exploit the poor. So when you hear them say them are socialists, it's the same thing. Cuba, socialist government, right? It's the same kind of mentality. And that's why we had the bloody election in 1980, because they were going full-fledged communism. But thank God that it did not work. But we have to say, please understand, folks, that these people are political extremists. Now, we've come through the third term because we love Dr. Andrew Holness and everything. But for the fourth term, we're going to need to have political knowledge. You see, when you see those that disrespect Desmond in the parliament and how them are behave and how them raucous and how them disrespectful, it's the extreme politics. They're not doing it because of they're socialists. They're doing it because they are capitalists, right? And they split with the party. We need to understand our own narrative and purpose. We are the set of people who not only are we running Jamaica and making it a better place, but we have to be at a place where we're building a political culture for the JLP. We need JLP culture, just like how PNP had become a subculture and still is a subculture in Jamaica, to the point where they say it was PNP country. We have to make this JLP country over the next few years leading up to the election, which means to say we will have to have our own political narrative, right? That's why I'm telling you, I don't want nobody come over here come tell me about no riser. Anything that operates under PNP or PNP, I don't care who they are or where they originate from, right? We have to have our own narrative based on performance. And one thing, JLP, we can't just perform. We have to also proclaim. We have to speak, because we may not like what they say when they speak. Me all hear Warmington if you tell Damon Crawford to cut a long talking. Me hear Ian Hills in a parliament a question Matthew Samuda like we don't know for them dirty history. Right? In the parliament pretending as if they're holding government accountable, and if they couldn't answer to the questions they're asking. They couldn't. Mark Golding, me have to wonder if he is still the opposition leader, because everything is passing him by. Look like Mark Golding sit on a Burger King and look on his phone. I wonder who are on the party because I can't him. right? So this is where we kind of freestyle and make them know, so we're not, you understand me? So, I'm seeing 112 likes. I like it. I like it. Big up to the new subscribers. Somebody said, Libra cool and steady. Oh, boy. The Libras, you know, but I did tell him the other day, it's a Libra green lizard there. The Libras, them charming, the most friendly people, but behind that friendly smile. You understand me? By the way, very good at communication. You understand me, Libra, but everybody come with their vices, you know. You see me saying, some people gone back into the zodiac thing. There's a lot more that I'm going to say about it, you know. But if you notice, we're in some informational thing right now. Somebody said, thank God, chat, that Jamaica rejected Michael Manley's communism. Oh, we're happy. Somebody said, 1980, my first daughter. Big up yourself, same way. And Father Levi, the show is ending, so we're not going to take any calls right now. You understand me? We have to use time wisely. Somebody says, so true, steady. Too much disrespect to the best PM ever. It's a strategy, you know. They know what they're doing. You understand me? So we're on top of them. Somebody said, poor Manley, him just didn't understand how the world runs. He didn't. Manley was a... So I see Father Levi calling, but Father Levi said him not really that the voting thing. That's one of the things that happened again. Listen, this is a labor rights channel, right? You understand me? If you're not in a no commitment to politics and how the country run or whatever, if you can't pick a side, we have to deprioritize you. We are serious about how we're doing it this year. We're not arguing with PNP extremist people. We're not spending time with people who are uncommitted or who now make a decision. Enough information is out there for people to decide. So if you want to talk on this show, pick a side. You understand me? This is a JLP show. And that's the need for understand. Somebody say, yes, Christine, we are suffering today from some of Manley's choices. Yes, we are. And we have to go after those lies that they've told us. PNP, they have repackaged Michael Manley. They've tried everything. I mean, I say Manley do some good things, you know, but Manley has done more harm than good in my book, and nobody can factually disprove that. You see me? So we're seeing some true, steady, pathological liars and narcissists. Exactly. All right, let's see what the people are saying. Rose Henry, how does such talk come from a leader that supposedly cared about civil rights? Exactly. Manley was good. He was a good orator, not a good leader. Right? So, anybody I can tell which Manley, about Manley party, we want to know which Manley when I talk. I will know a lot of times they talk about Michael, Norman Manley, but we're not doing any of that. This is 2026. We are the children, you understand me, of the Most High. A free country this year. We can handle it. It's been proven. Them do them job already, make them later rest. But right now, a forward we are move with this government right here, sir. In terms of his actions, he was ignorant and not wise in his thinking about Cuba. He was able to get people to follow him. Manley was very persuasive. Manley was very... Charisma was what Manley used and swayed the people, you know. And I have a video. Sometime, we have a 9-minute video. It's on this phone that I'm using with Manley. And when I hear a Manley, I tell the people them to sing, onward, Christian socialists. Sound like a church them inner. My goodness, he really had them. Manley was a real cult leader. Right? It's cult style leadership that Manley used to win over a lot of them. And it cannot be refuted. It cannot be refuted. You understand me? The facts say that. Mr. Semester said, Katabi, exactly. What exactly do you mean by Manley was a great civil rights leader? What about the state of emergency in 1976? Green Bay killings in 1978? Green Island fire? See there? The fact checker is in the building. You understand me? It's a lot of things. So, Desiree Grandison, I'm an Aquarian. So, the Aquarians are the smartest in the zodiac. They can fight that out with the Virgos because the Virgos believe they are, but it's really the Aquarians. You understand me? The Aquarians are the smart ones. By the way, Tough Tad is an Aquarian, you know. That's why Tough Tad is so smart. Not even the doctor can handle him. And Kamina, you see how she cool and sweet. But tell us the Libras are sweet. Kamina Johnson is a Libra. By the way, I need to talk about Dr. Andrew Holness. Dr. Andrew Holness is a Leo. Andrew Holness is a fixed sign. I talked about the modalities the other day. I was mixing it up. Let me fix it for you, right? So there are 3 modalities, right? And let me tell you who fall under which, right? So you have the, again, this is where we just freestyle now. I tell you, we have to talk like this. We go to the facts already. For those of you who like the classroom style stuff, you just want the information we already gave it. This is the last part of the show. This is where we just talk as a family. So the 3 modalities, right? You have the cardinal or the leaders, and then you have the what you call the other one, the mutable modalities, and then you have the fixed modalities. All right, so let's start with the cardinal first, right? Capricorn, Libra, Cancer. Always I miss one of them. Capricorn, Libra, Cancer. And which are the next one? Which is the next one? Capricorn, Libra, Cancer. Oh my God. Somebody tell me because I don't know, right? I can't remember. Somebody said, my son is Taurus and steady, very stubborn. Taurus people are stubborn people. And a lot of people testify, so thank you, right? But, and then you have the what you call the mutable ones, right? The mutable ones are the Virgos, the Geminis, the Pisces, and the Sag. All right, so me get the mutable ones down, right? So them more adaptive, more adjustable. They probably will switch things. You understand me? The first one, them somebody probably put it already, right? But the fixed modalities now, right? The more stubborn one, them is you have the me, the Taurus. You have the Leo, which is Andrew Holness. So Andrew is a fixed sign, you know. So Andrew is a fixer. You understand what I said to you? So he's a fixed modality. You gonna help me with that? Aries. All right, Aries. All right, Aries is the next cardinal sign. So, which means to say they are first. They're full of initiative. They are starters. They're innovators. That's the cardinal one, right? Then the ones that are the team players, the adaptables, the adaptives. You understand me? They are the ones that so the Gemini. That's why Gemini always get bad name, Pisces get bad name, Sagittarius get bad name, and Virgos get bad name, right? The fixed ones now, the ones that easy to move them: Scorpio, Taurus, Aquarius, and Leo. So Andrew is a Leo, right? So when you see Mark Golding love create problem, typical Cancer love give people problem, right? But Andrew is a Leo, right? Andrew is a fixed sign. So that's why fixed signs are very grounded, very level-headed, very goal-focused, very confident. Easy to get them off of them thing. So that's why Andrew is able to hold his head level. Unlike a Manly was a Sag. Manly is not even a leadership sign. As a matter of fact, most of them, Portia was also a Sag. Peter Phillips, Sag. Sag will run out, but when the pressure reach them, they may not be as grounded. You want grounded people for run country. By the way, you know who was a Taurus? My man was a Taurus, you know. What is one that did well in the 60s? Or one? Shearer. I believe Shearer was a Taurus, you know. So Taurus do the work, but with take the whole heap of credit. You understand? Anyway, somebody said PNP and Cuba think that this decent JLP administration would carry on their modern day slavery. That's what they wanted, right? Somebody said, good night, steady. Hey, greetings, Anisha. By the way, greetings to all the new subscribers. Thank you. More people are coming on as we are into this. We're in the freestyle segment. We have to put it out there. Yes, we have to. We have to learn. Is that PNP is like a PNP is like a marketing machine. And a long time this will go on, because I know somebody that work alongside Manly. And a long time they might do this. Manley is the type of man that used to announce things that are going to be done and even put a deadline out there. And I remember getting a direct story from somebody who worked with Manley. And they said, listen, Manley had a launch date. I don't remember what the program was supposed to be. And when I sat down, I asked them, where is the location? What is the launch date? How will it be financed? Who will be working there? Manley had none of that, but Manley they already run out there and talk already and convince people. So Manley was very good. Very, very good orator. You understand me? I said to you? But he just never had the leadership that Jamaica needed, and so he messed things up. Aries are bad people. Everybody, Aries will fight you anywhere they catch you. That is facts. Somebody said Anthony Manley was a leader of the PMP for years. He was quite ignorant and he thought he was doing what was best for a black independent country. I don't even believe Manley believed in the things, Manley copied Marcus Garvey's. Anthony C. Mister, I believe I used to say this. He copied what Marcus Garvey's philosophies, and he copied Buster Manty's charisma. Clearly, he had charisma of his own, right? But that is where he get it. Manley never had a playbook of his own. Why you think that DK Duncan could have taken my wife? His wife did that cheat on him. He could have controlled the people them around him and so on. Manley was not a leader. He was not a firm person. He's not like an Andrew Holness who put his foot down. And when Andrew put his foot down, both JLP and PMP feel the weight. The whole party was crumbling under Manley because Manley was a good talker, not a good leader. And we have to put these things out there because a lot of times people confuse good talkers. In other words, the stuff that I did the other day, this is for by the next show, hopefully. We talk about the 4 personality types, right? In the Dove personality test. Going at the thing, we are doing it with the politicians them right now. I don't want to take up time while going at it, right? But Manley was a peacock. Manley was not an eagle. Andrew is an eagle. Yeah? The peacock will show off, but they're more, naturally, the peacock can't fly. You understand what I said to you? Anyways, we will get into the personality stuff at a later time. Let me just look at what else we have, and then we'll move on. Jamaica did not betray Cuba. You understand me? So we're not going to entertain that nonsense over here. Exactly said it. This foolishness about not voting, etc. Pick a side, pick a struggle. And that's exactly what I'm coming with. Yes, man, cult leader indeed. You understand me? All right, so let's settle. Like me steady, Libra. That's why you're so sweet. Everybody knows that UG are one of the sweetest. Yeah, man, Libras will use. Libras are charmers. Kamala Harris was a Libra. You understand me? You see that smile? Yeah, well, Libras will charm you with the smile, but behind that smile, somebody say Aries. All right. People are talking that is something. Yeah, man, Aries are bad people. We don't know that too. We don't know when we fight people. Right? As a matter of fact, I have had Aries friend. I used to say, every Aries need a Taurus to keep them out of jail because Taurus we don't lose our cool easily. But when we lose it, we lose it. Right? Aries will lose their cool. And I used to say every Taurus needs an Aries to light a fire upon them because sometimes we're too laid back and we're too complacent. I've seen that in Aries friends I've had. Somebody said, my goodness, steady, you are totally invested. I'm not totally invested in the zodiac sign, I am just saying, I'm just going with the evidence. I used to say I don't. It's not that I'm reading zodiac signs. I'm just talking about people I've had around me. You understand me? And I've done people management for over 20 years. I move in a lot of circles where I have to deal with people in large portions or large bulks. So I have a very good understanding of people and how they function. You understand me? Especially cancer. Cancer will give problems. Anyway, some people talk up a storm. Some people can talk up a storm. Wife style say, I mean that. Every Virgo is a talker. Right. Anyway, I had no idea was out of Jamaican politics for a decade. So, all right. So we are at the end of the thing. Again, just to recap, folks, Remember, go back and check out what the individual said about Cuba, life in Cuba from the words of Cubans. Also, make sure you look at the video that I put out yesterday, right? It's very important that we understand what's behind the scenes, because PMP can't come trick way again when I come talk like they are unaware of what is happening in Cuba. No, the PNP, they are very much aware of what is happening in Cuba, right? So when we hear them talk, we now understand. So, one of the things that one of the nationals says that we probably don't need no military intervention because Cuba is going to crumble on its own. And you heard President, because they have nothing, they're really suffering. And at some point, you have to stop make the people them suffer like that, and they're doing that to their own people. I believe that it's time for a change. So you can see all of that on the Steady Show. Somebody said, MDL, Dujon did the Beverly Manley series on his show. You need to look it up. Yeah, man. So a whole heap of information out there. Somebody say eloquence and intelligence, don't necessarily mean you are a leader. Thank you very much. That's RB Parchment. That is it. So, and for a lot of people, a lot of times we confuse that. Like, look at Dr. Horace Chang, for instance. Dr. Horace Chang is not a talker. He's a doer. You understand me? He gets the job done. So, for a long time, we just look at leaders as people who are great talkers and so on, but it's way more than that. I see Wifestyle said, oh my God, 124, watching 124 likes. Thank you so much, Wifestyle, for recognizing. Thank you, MDL. Listen, when people get good information, you understand me, they will hit the like button, and sometimes we will go off track, but when we go live, try to catch the live from early, because after we deal with the topic, we tend to freestyle it a little bit, because we are Jamaicans and we like to have those kind of talks. You understand me? Well, family, I think this has been a great session. I appreciate the interaction. I appreciate the company. You understand me? Until we talk again, more on a big up with yourself. Heart of love, never short of love. Hit the like button, family. Thank you, moderators. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Wifestyle. Yeah. Watch over the show. It's a good thing to do. Green up the chat, family. Thank you for coming out. Subscribe to the show. Thank you, MDL. Big up, Katabi. Big up all the moderators, all the viewers. Cindy, big up. Hey. Hit the like button if you have not done so. Subscribe if you have not done so. Good night, Desireen. Big up you, Jita, Rose Henry, Kata B. Big up on yourself. Garden or you fit in a tax fraud. In our parliament, but do help we law. Here be and good people, we know them and no good people. If I never show our labor rights. That is it. Janet Mangal, big up yourself. One of them a devil and them forget mine. Get the 4 term, it a go blow them mind. Blow them mind, it a go blow them mind. Big up everybody. Have a great night, family. Heart of love.